Hi, this is Trevor. Welcome to Figures in Watercolour Part 2. I'd like to take you through the very limited materials that I used for this. You won't need a lot. Colours, burnt umber, ultramarine, raw sienna, cobalt blue, vermilion, Naples yellow, Payne's grey. 7. A 4-well palette and 1 brush, a number 6 sable I used, and of course a lovely big jar of water. Surprising, a little bit of water goes a long way. I'll be posting up colour combinations and the colours that I'm using at any one time on the left hand side of your screen. For instance, mixes will appear like this. Okay, before we start, some do's and don'ts. Don't make the head of your figure too big. Do keep a weather eye on the proportions of your figures and try to get them as correct as possible. And when you paint, use some brush pressure and let the colours merge naturally on the paper. Okay, we've got the idea. Let's start. I'm starting out with some burnt umber and establishing the size of the head first. Now on to the body, which I can match with the size of the head, and I'm using some pressure strokes for the top half of the figure. There's going to be a figure coming directly towards us. I'm using the Payne's grey and dragging the brush down to try and establish the overall size of the figure before I do any details. And a little gentle cast shadow would be useful. There. Well, that was a single figure, and now I'm going to try a pair. Same routine, first burnt umber for the head. I'm going to establish the first figure before I go onwards to overlap a second figure behind this. So brush pressure again, and thinking about the second arm and the movement of the legs, and establishing the whole of the figure before I do any details. Now for the second figure, I'm going to put this one slightly darker behind the first and try and trap a little bit of light on the shoulder, as you can see, of the first figure. If the colours touch, I'm going to let them merge together naturally. Okay, this time we'll make the cast shadow go in the opposite direction. Yeah, so I'm putting down a layer of light Payne's grey and drop some ultramarine into that to darken up the shadow a bit. Well, feeling a bit more confident now. I think I'll make this one a little bit larger, and we'll use some cobalt blue. Pretty much full strength. There's just a little bit of water in the brush. So I'm establishing the body of the figure. I'm thinking about the overall shape first. So a useful tip really is to push the paint with the brush rather than outline and then fill in. So I'm pushing the paint from the centre while it's still wet. See if we can just put the legs in a little bit here. With some burnt umber and a little bit of Naples yellow. Okay. A cast shadow. So a drop of Payne's grey, and I'm letting the brush skip across the paper to get some broken effect. Now coming in with the second figure, again behind the first one, burnt umber for the head, and I'm going to try and trap a bit of light on the right hand shoulder of my first figure. Yeah. Okay. All the time I'm keeping a weather eye on the proportions of the two. Do they work together? Well, those legs need adjusting. So we'll do that now. But first the shadow, and it needs to correspond with the first one. We'll let those merge. Now adjusting the legs. That's better. Okay, figures in a group. First let's establish the heads. Again with the same routine, burnt umber. Don't have the heads all equal distances. Then the bodies of the figures. And try to think about the whole group. You know, how do they overlap? What colours should I use? How do I establish the group? So here I'm going to bring one forward. You see, I'm bringing the wash down very gradually, and I'm thinking about the whole group. This is part of one leg, there's the other one. Okay, there's a little bit of movement in that, and this is the second one. The legs are going different to the first. This figure seems to sit behind a little bit more. Yeah. And the foreground figure, I need to make that a bit longer so it comes forward like that. Yeah. Cast shadow is going to be extremely useful. I use them a lot to give more form and more depth to that overall painting. So, yeah. Well, they might be sharing a leg or two here, but the general effect, I think, is what I'm after. Okay, now lastly, another group. Establishing the heads again first. Let's look at this one. Let's join them. We'll have a third one here. So a tight-knit group. Now I'm letting the brush wander a little bit. Okay, establishing an arm. Try to think about the whole group. Try and get the whole group in your mind, not just the individual figures. Don't stay in an area for more than a minute. This kind of practice, well, I think it's going to pay off. It has done for me. I enjoy putting figures in my watercolours, and it's not such a daunting task as it might seem. Okay, we're making that one come forward. This one will go slightly behind. Now we've got a group of three. We've got a trio there. We'll tie them all together with a shadow. We'll make that shadow come forward. Okay, I think I need to drop a little bit of a darker tint into that. I'm adding some Payne's grey and letting the colour underneath soak up the... I think we'll do it all. That's better. Now lastly, figure in movement. Again, the same routine. I want to try and make this person appear to be walking. An ordinary shopper. Okay, so we've got the head, and this time I've put a hairstyle on there. I've just dropped a little bit of Payne's grey into the burnt umber. And now a body which has got some movement. I'm thinking about the movement that I want. This arm should come in, yes. can fix the body, moving down the figure and thinking about the skirt and how that flares out, the length of it. Oh, she's going to need some legs, so try and get some movement in them too. Okay, how long will they be? Yeah, to about there. Okay, her arm's just out, so it's convenient to put a shopping bag in that at some point in time. This is the kind of thing that you would see in a street. People bustling along with shopping. It's important to get that kind of movement. Let's just put the shopping bag in. Oh, okay. I think we'll add a little colour into that bag. Oh, a little bit of vermilion. There we are. Well, thank you very much for watching this. I hope this has helped. And of course, practice makes perfect. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next time.